Hey, what's going on? I'm making my second video. Yesterday I talked about weight loss. I'm going to talk about weight loss just a little bit today. Had a really good second day. You know, just had bananas and then vegetables for lunch and Thai food for dinner. So, I might eat a smoothie later. Maybe not. I hope not. Just main thing to stay away from fast food and junk food and fried food and stuff that you just know is bad for you. You know, um, day two, I didn't get any exercise in today. Been real busy, and my time management might be a little bit off. The other thing I want to talk about is the Blues, the St. Louis Blues. Them winning the Stanley Cup is unbelievable, truly unbelievable. It looked like it was just going to be another typical disappointing St. Louis Blues season. As a person who has seen Gary Unger play and seen Bob Gassoff play before he was killed, Bernie Federko, and early as a kid, and then through adulthood, as a young man, watch Brett Hull and Adam Oates. Them getting rid of Oates was the dumbest thing they ever did, letting him go anyway. Then that whole Scott Stevens mess, Brendan Shanahan, and Mike Keenan, just just total disappointment. They came close a couple times, but not really close. And this year didn't look any different. They got off to just that horrible start. Ryan O'Reilly was just absolutely carrying the team. And among the inconsistency, the most inconsistent thing was still the goalie. I don't know what they thought. It was all of a sudden going to be a lot better. Yeah, the backup goalie last year had become the starting goalie, and then they let him go to Buffalo, and it turned out that he wasn't the answer there, so he wasn't the answer here either. But you know, Allen's not the answer either. Jake Allen's not the answer, and we knew that. You know, makes $4.6 million a year though, so had to give him another shot. And Yo just seemed emotionless. Just seemed like he was mad all the time, like that was gonna fix things. You know, um, and we all know the story. The story that I have is I was putting up Christmas decorations at church, and we started a blues conversation. They happened to be playing that night, and they were getting killed. And we talked about it. They should just trade everybody: Tarasenko, Petrolangelo, Parayko, all those. They should get rid of them all. If they could get something for Allen, get rid of him. Whatever it took. And you know, Berube had already taken over as coach, but it was a month and a half later, and it still hadn't changed. And then on January 3rd, we all know they were in last place. And I think why it took a while after Berube took over is that he changed them from this unsuccessful fast skating team that Yo was trying them to make without a bunch of fast players into a hard checking team like he was. Go back and watch Berube's fights. There's about 8 videos at least of him fighting Probert. There's 2 or 3 of them fighting Twist. He was a goon. He was a fighter. His whole career, played a long time, played a lot of games. I did see one where he scored a goal. I don't know how many goals he had, but he changed his team to go with the kind of person he is: hard hitting, hard working, checking defensive team. And I guess it took about a month and a half to make that transition. And of course, the savior came. Bennington's a whole nother story. You could make a video just about Bennington, but they didn't even have a team for him last year. The Blues and their total disarray didn't even have a minor league team last year. So they loaned Bennington. They tried to send Bennington down in the minors, and he said, no, I'm not going to do that. You can't blame him. He was 24 years old, and so they loaned him to the Bruins of all people, and he played really well. Made the All-Star team, and they wanted to trade for him, and thank God the Blues didn't do that. They didn't offer much. And they have a hot shot goalie prospect. His name is Russo, but he was hurt. Allen was hurt. They'd already gotten rid of whoever that guy they signed to be the backup goalie this year, and so Bennington was the only choice. So they brought Bennington up, and the rest is history. Just an unbelievable run. And he's played well. He made an All-Star team last year. He played well before he came to the Blues this year. He was, I think, 11-4 and had a really good goals against average. I don't think there's any reason why he can't continue the play that he's done. O'Reilly, best signing, maybe in Blues history. How can you say it's not? They won the Stanley Cup, right? He was the heart and soul of this team in the beginning. Kind of flamed out a little bit. Maybe he was hurt in the playoffs, but then made an unbelievable comeback, of course, to win the Conn Smythe. Just maybe the best signing in Blues history. Perron is an underrated signing for sure. I went back and looked at every goal in the playoffs and watched the seventh game again, and the guy's a monster. He gets all those dumb penalties and is a little bit polarizing, so I think that kind of overshadows how good he is, and he was really good. And he's got that concussion problem, probably because guys knock him in the head. But he's a good player, and he played well this year. And, and Bozak, if you go back and you watch all the goals in the playoffs, you're going to see Bozak hit a few goals, including the Troop. What a season. Sundqvist, if you go back and you watch all the goals again in the playoffs, you'll see that Sundqvist is an animal. Robert Thomas, before he got injured, was an animal. Sammy Blais, if you watch that seventh game, again, you'll see that Sammy Blais is an animal. I mean, the future is bright. They're well under the cap. They got enough money to sign Bennington and more, get some of the other guys raises. They're going to get them. They did say the cap is going to be a little lower than they thought, but it shouldn't affect the Blues at all. The Blues could even add a piece. And that's the other, Doug Armstrong. I mean, he was like a genius, signing O'Reilly, signing those other guys, and then not trading anybody at the trade deadline. It looks pretty smart. And then, I'm sure getting rid of Yo, even though he was like really horrible, just emotionless all the time. He hadn't had the job very long. And, he got off to such a good start and then just flamed out. So he hadn't even been in the job 2 years, I don't think. They made the playoffs when he took over for Hitchcock. And then did they make the playoffs the next year too? And then, last year they lost the last game. And, I mean, that should have told us that he wasn't going to make it. And Berube was actually coach of the Chicago Wolves, and they were really good. And then he wasn't thought of as a big prospect, along with Bennington. Either one of them were not thought as National Hockey League material as far as being a goalie or a coach. Berube probably would have got a chance somewhere, sometime. But it wasn't like it wasn't going to the Canadians or anything, And you go back and you watch the playoffs. Let's start with the first series. The Winnipeg Jets. They were down. They were tied 2-2. It was the third game. Going in the third period, they were down 2-0. I was in Vegas. I remember thinking, "Oh, this is over." And they came back. They won the game 3-2, and then won the next game. Went to Dallas, and Dallas was hot. Bishop was unbelievably hot. And Bishop was not to be denied the seventh game. Robert Thomas is the guy who fired that puck on goal. Maroon just got the rebound, but it was a good play. Maroon looked good in the playoffs. And then San Jose, was up 2-1 after the hand pass game, and but the Blues just wore them down. And hey, let's just be honest, Boston was a better team. They were. They had more talent. But I think they thought they were entitled. It was obvious that San Jose too a little bit, thought they were entitled, that they just had to show up. And, when Boston was good, they were good. They won one game 6-3, one game 7-2, one game 5-1. And I think they just thought, kind of like the Blues did in the sixth game probably, thought they were going to walk into the seventh game and just show up and win. But they didn't expect Bennington to play the game of his life. I think Bennington deserves a lot of credit. I call him King Bennington, but Berube too, man, to get that team that so many people had tried to motivate. Hitchcock, he did get him to the semifinals in 2016, but the players openly hated him. And then I guess that was just a change from Hitchcock, but then he couldn't get him to do nothing. And then Berube, he just was incredible. I'll have a lot more to say about the Blues and sports in general. Of course, it's an historic thing, the parade, oh my God. You had to worry about the players a little bit. They're partying pretty hard, but they're young. And, sometimes I think us old guys think, oh my God, but we were just better worse. And it's just an incredible thing. That's it for today.